Hello, I'm FYXToyCat and welcome back to the video. Today we're going to talk about 5 unusual building blocks that you can work with in Minecraft if you want to mix things up just a little bit. I figured this would be an important thing to go over because most people always ask for brand new building blocks in Minecraft, but yet most people when they're playing Minecraft will only build with 15 or 20 different blocks at any given time, which is, an interesting and fun way to do things, but it means that most of the stuff you create is going to look a lot like what everyone else creates, and that means if you want new building blocks, why not just experiment with some of the ones that exist in the game right now that most people have never even bothered looking at in survival or creative or anything like that. So I figured, here are 5 unusual build blocks, as well as how you can use them to make some pretty interesting, bizarre builds. Hopefully you all do enjoy today's video. Like if you do like it, because it helps out the channel, and lets know you do enjoy the, kind of building idea video stuff, just like this one, and maybe want to see more of that too. But with that said, let's get straight into it, and let's start by talking about, I guess, the big thing on screen right now that you're probably questioning, wondering what exactly is going on there, toycat. But yes, there is a bridge made out of lily pads. So this and all of the other builds you're seeing today were made by Legendary Potato, so big thank to him. And this first Lilypad Bridge is one of my favorite things when I first saw it, years back in Minecraft, because it's something you don't even realize that you could possibly do. But yeah, you can make a bridge out of lily pads, even if you just have a single, line of lily pads. It's a fun way to cross water because you're going 1/64th block over it. It's a really cool way to pretend you have frostwalker boots. Oh, I actually have frostwalker boots, but it's a fun way to kind of act like you have frostwalker boots because wow, look, I'm walking on the water. It feels really, really great just by themselves. But then you add more layers to lily pads, so you have a 3-layer thick one, and suddenly, oh, it's actually, it's like a real bridge, but I'm walking all over the whole thing. And then suddenly you add, something as simple as just stairs on each side, some fence gates, and you've got yourself a bridge which works in a really unique way. And even if people don't necessarily like the look of this thing, because, some people might be like, oh, what are with the gaps and all that sort of stuff, I think the fact that it's so unique, the fact that it works so interestingly is one of the best uses for lily pads, and one of the best showcases of why lily pads are a fun block that perhaps you should build with. And just in case that's not enough, I really like lily pads also because they have the fun second functionality of when you have frostwalker boots on, every single bit of water will freeze over except where the lily pads are. So you can use them as an anti-frostwalker, enchantment thing. I don't know why that'll be useful, but in case that's something you want to do, you want to make sure no water freezes over. Let's say, it's the top of a dam where water's flowing from, put some lily pads on there, and you can keep the water flowing, but you can make sure it can't be frozen by anything, which is pretty darn useful if you ask me. So yeah, lily pads, pretty cool if you ask me. Let's move on to the second, block which you should probably build with if you're not already, which is ore blocks. So ore blocks are something which most people use only jokingly in creative or kind of as a, again, a mini game thing or something to show off just how bad something is. But ore blocks can be used in, real builds to make interesting looking stuff. And here is a great example of it. So let's start with the fact that in this pathway, you can see how instead of, most people use gravel or something in their pathway, which I don't understand. It looks terrible. Why not, if you're going to do that anyway though, why not have redstone ore there instead? Because redstone ore, it looks better than gravel. It's easy to say. It adds a lot more texture because it's 10 bits instead of 1 bit. And also when you tread over it, it also lights up, which means if it's nighttime, you can have a pathway that lights itself up only a little bit, so it's kind of spooky, but enough so you can see where you're going. Pretty darn useful, right? But even if you ignore the redstone ore and the fact that it works quite well in the pathway, here you can see that this house is, it's really quite visually interesting. It's very, very different to the usual, oh, it's a mansion made out of stone and wood, how unique I am. It's very, very different to that because it's made from these sorts of blocks that make you question exactly what's going on. So yeah, here you can see the walls are made from iron on the inside and the floor's made from diamond and lapis, but it still actually just about works. It looks a little bit like a cave house, but it looks like a very visually interesting cave house, which I do quite like. And here's an emerald block being used for a table. And if we go upstairs, you can see that it looks even better up here because wow, it's got, the wood really is what you're focused on and the rest is kind of filling, but yet it still adds a whole bunch of color despite being kind of similar. And if we look on the outside too, so you'll see how there's a bunch of iron ore out there. The iron ore is a really cool way to show, and the gold ore too, and the emeralds, they're a really cool way to show yeah, I'm so wealthy in Minecraft survival that I'll just use ore to build my house. And I think it's a really great double statement in that way. It's great because it shows that wow, you're a madman. You can build with, these wacky blocks that no one even considers. And it's also pretty great because it kind of shows off that yeah, you're wealthy enough to have all of the diamonds and gold and stuff necessary just to build a house out of ore. There's an idea for you. Grab a silk touch pickaxe, do some weird stuff in survival, and have a fun time. So yeah, as well as the ore house, which I think is a great idea. I think another great idea that most people don't bother building with is leaves. So this is something you see from time to time in very naturey builds, but I feel like leaves have so many synergies with other blocks in terms of what they go with that you can just kind of see a couple of them right here working really, really quite well. So yeah, leaf blocks are a great nature block to show oh yeah, this is nature right here, but they're also a great block because they're semi-transparent. So that means that you can see through them, but only a little bit, and only if there's only a few of them. So you can do some weird stuff where oh yeah, you can see through most of this and get this. Again, look at this fountain, looks pretty cool, but you can also do it so you can cover your spawn with leaves and your spawn below it still. You can do a whole bunch of weird stuff with leaves where you let light through but only sometimes, and I think that's a great use for it that most people don't really properly consider. So yeah, leaves, something most people don't consider, but are really, really useful, particularly right here. As you can see, this is a spawn area example thing that works quite well, and it makes me at least want to be like, yeah, let's grab some leaves in there. And while we're here talking about this, actually, also another one that most people don't consider is mossy cobblestone / mossy cobblestone fences / stairs, etc. Or not stairs, sorry, but using it with all these other blocks. It's a really interesting, it's a good way to add texture in the same way redstone, or if you have to add gravel to something that adds texture to that, right? It adds the exact same thing when you're working with cobblestone. It's just that you add a few random blocks in here, and suddenly everything just looks that little bit more interesting. So yeah, as well as this block right here. So these 4 examples. We've got fence gates next. So fence gates are a really fun replacement for fences, I think. They've got so many uses, and this build right here, this stable, is a great showcase of all of them. So first of all, obviously, if you want to let horses in and out of a place, this is a great way to have as big or as small an opening as you want. Here it is entirely locked. Here it is entirely open. I think it's great that you can open as much or as little as you like. So you can let only people in and not the horse out. You can do weird stuff like that if you want to. So stable, pretty darn nice. But most people know that. The other uses that I was kind of, more impressed with is using it in replacement for fences. So for instance, right up here, if you want to, just have these instead of fences, it looks almost the same as a fence, but it looks a little bit better because it floats. It looks like it's just a true connection from there to there. And I think it's, pretty great as a way to do outside. And as long as you don't care if people open the gate to get in, then it's a cool way to do that. But as well as an interesting way to have fences done, there is a skeleton in here, so let's maybe leave him for a bit. But you can also use it as like windows, because as you can see, you can... Did he open the door? No, he didn't. But as you can see, it's a great way to have windows because you can see through them, but yet they are a solid block. So if you don't want to have a skeleton shoot you, but you want to see what he's up to, great way to do that. But you can also use them as a table. So we walk very quickly in here. You can see how these work as table legs for that. And, there's like a billion different uses for fence gates, which I really do quite like. It's a very creative, it's a very good block for creative possibilities because it opens up so much that you might not have realized that you can necessarily work with. And yeah, fence gates, a really fun block to build with in Minecraft that most people overlook pretty seriously. So finally, the last option on here is one that I see from time to time, but that really isn't quite as common as it should be because it is cobwebs. So cobwebs are great not only for like, oh yeah, well, we're making an abandoned mine shaft, let's have cobwebs, but they're also great for making walls that you can let people go through if you don't mind them going through them very slowly. So if you want to guide someone somewhere, but you don't want to like lock them in or you want them to see through, because again, same thing as leaves where you can see through the block, then I think cobwebs are a great way to do that. So, oh look, it's cobwebs, they're speaking stuff, but they're also great for just, like real building purposes, because as you might have seen on the ore house, the ore house, there's, as you can see, the chimney is actually spewing out smoke, but the best way to do smoke in Minecraft, as far as I can tell, is using cobwebs. They use it in all the battle maps to show off like, oh yeah, the train is firing, and and in this case you can see it's using a lot of the corners too, just to really add that extra layer of detail to it that most people don't properly do. And especially in survival, now that you can get cobwebs using just shears, you have no excuses to avoid cobwebs. Use them for something, because as long as you have an abandoned mineshaft in your world, you've got access to this giant supply of blocks that can do some pretty interesting stuff. And I think that's true for all of these blocks actually. They all were deliberately blocks that are very easy to get in survival. All you need to do is find some vines, which are easy to find. Farms, get some wood, very easy. Lily pads, just go to a swamp and get that sort of stuff. Get some ores, do any of these things, and you can make some very interesting builds that at least will mix things up just a little bit. And if you do want to build with any of these interesting blocks, please do send me a picture, either at Twitter, twitter.com/ibxtoycat, or any other way you can send it to me, because I love seeing the sorts of things that you build with, sort of stuff. So please do that. And also, while you are, I guess, down in the comments typing whatever you're doing right now, like the video if you did like it, because it helps out the channel a lot, and let us know you do like these sorts of videos. Share the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!